Hey folks, welcome back to Uneven Lifecast. Imagine running hours on end through wind, hills, and fatigue, and then waking up the next day to fight for your community, for change in your community. My guest today does both. Lee Wilson is an ultra marathon runner, a dad, a husband, a coach, and a powerhouse advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We'll sit down and unfold all of this. Let's welcome Lee Wilson. How are you, Coach?
Thanks, Bhuwan. Thanks for having me. It's first time I've sat down and done a podcast, so I'm excited to sit down and have a bit of a yarn with you today.
Thank you very much for accepting this in a very short notice as well.
This
was about 3 days ago. I just texted you randomly.
Yep.
Saying, hey, would you like to sit down for a podcast? You were very generous as well, saying, I will let you know by tomorrow.
And it's fun. And it's, look, and I do the work I've been doing with the Nepali community. More than happy to, talk about my journey of running, because I think if I can inspire more people to run as much as you guys are inspiring people to run, then it's more than happy to have a yarn about it.
Yeah. This is like, for me, I did come through Chagov's movement, with the Sunday run and the Run for Harmony. And then the first time I met you was at the tracks for Thursdays that we do every week. And I was just, because, before that, someone had just said, there's a coach, who's teaching all these techniques, and he's done all these runs and ultra marathon and all that stuff. And in my head, I was just, who's this legend? Like he's just, he's just teaching with, and with no fees and nothing. You were just doing it out of genuine drive, to teach people and to, just to teach them about running and the techniques and all that. That was, fascinating for me. Welcome to the podcast. We'll start with, how was your day today?
It was good today. We did our long run today. My son, I have an 18-year-old son, Lucas, who most people in the Nepali community know by now.
Yeah.
So today he decided he was going to run with me. So we did our long run. We're currently training for a marathon at the end of the year. So for his 18th birthday party, we just we got him an overseas trip to Vietnam and an entry into the Vietnam Marathon. So
wow,
it's going to be dad and son trip away. So that was our morning this morning, and 18 kilometres over the bridge, and it was really nice.
Is that like a weekly bonding thing, or you guys just do it like all the time?
He doesn't normally run with me anymore because he reckons I'm too slow. That's okay. He still hasn't beat my all-time PB. So there's a bit of banter goes on in the family. So he took the baton of the fastest run a couple of years ago now.
Oh, did he?
We quite a lot. We'll start together, and we'll say it's 2 hours, so it'll be an hour out and an hour back. But he's always well ahead of me. Yeah.
All right. So let's go one by one. For me, Lee Wilson was ultra marathon runner who's been coaching a group of us. What's the story though? Like, how did you get into running?
Yeah, look, it seems like a long time ago now, but people think I've been running my whole life. They hear about all these things I've done, but I actually didn't start running till I was 30, and I actually started triathlon when I was 30. Right. I got asked to join a corporate triathlon series. It was called the BRW Corporate Triathlon Series with a group of friends from work. So there's three of us, three in a team, and you all do this little mini triathlon. And the run leg of that triathlon was only 2K, and I literally could not run 2K.
Right.
Like I struggled to run 2K.
Yeah.
But I did this little corporate triathlon and straight away was hooked. I just loved it. It was such a fun sport. And then within 12 months, I'd done my first Ironman. So that was, and if we'll just run through what an Ironman is. It's 4.8 kilometre swim, 180 kilometre bike ride, and a 42 kilometre run. So I'd gone from 0 to that within the first 12 months.
First 12 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Did you know how to swim, obviously, before?
Look, no.
Or did you learn?
I could swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could swim. But really, I think I sort of fell into that. I got what was called a roll down, like a lottery position for the Ironman, and I decided to take it. And then I just worked really hard to get my fitness up. But I ended up realising I was actually quite good at the sport. So from that point, I ended up doing 5 consecutive Australian Ironmans in a row, and became quite competitive.
Yeah.
And I sort of got hooked on it. It was like an addiction. Before the kids were born, triathlon was my life.
Yeah.
But training for an Ironman is not conducive to a family because you're out there training 25, 26 hours a week. So
yeah. So within that 12 months for your first Ironman, how was your training schedule?
Well, I ended up getting a coach and joining the local triathlon club. Training for an Ironman, I was swimming probably 3 days a week, riding maybe a couple of 100 kilometres a week, and maybe running 50 or 60 kilometres a week. So it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it's a big race. So,
Yeah.
And my first one, it wasn't it was just about finishing. Mm-hmm. Really, it was just about the journey. It wasn't about winning anything. And it was pretty special. My first Ironman was probably I hold quite close to my heart because it was a time when my dad was quite ill with prostate cancer, and he was supposed to come to the race, but he couldn't. But I knew he was watching on live stream.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, they had live stream back then, which was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
So to come over the finish line and know how he was struggling through his journey and the struggle I did to actually get to that finish line, it was quite quite an emotional journey for that first race.
Oh, that's yeah. So what did he say anything to?
I rang him up after the race. He just said, "Well done." It was really funny because he saw the video and there was this guy, and I forget the guy's name, but he was 72 years old, right? And he came in an hour before me. And one of the first things that my dad said to me, "Did that guy beat you?" And I went, "Well, yeah, but this guy was a legendary Ironman."
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think starting early, like you said, you started at 30. Do you think if you would have started earlier, would that have made a difference in your performance? Or, it has to be the grind, like you said, within 12 months, you built yourself for Ironman journey. Say if you were in your 20s, you wouldn't have taken that much time. Say maybe 6 months, you'll be ready for the Ironman journey. Is that the case, you think? What?
I think there's a limit to performance. I was never going to be an Olympian. Really, I was just a good age group athlete. I mean, training for an Ironman does normally take years, and I got better over the years. My 5th or 6th Ironman was my best Ironman, and I did that when I was in my late 30s. So you mature with age. Yeah, it's the same with long distance athletes. You get better as you get older. Had I started earlier, I may not have. Before 30, with the years of going out and having fun and travelling the world, I would have missed out on that. So I think it was a good time to start.
Yeah. Did you say if you'd have, say, say your vices, right, would that be sort of hindering your performance as well if you had one or two?
If I had a what, sorry?
Like a vice, like say, if you were smoking or you were drinking, you were into these habits, that would have surely affected the performance, right? But yeah, did you have any back then when you were starting, say when you were training for your first marathon or the run?
Look, I think, once you get absorbed in a sport or running, it does pull you away from the things that aren't as healthy for you. And definitely in my Ironman years, they were my healthiest years. I mean, we've always been a healthy family. But as I was saying, before 30, there was a lot of partying going on, and I don't think I could have done an Ironman back then. But it's pleasing. I see my son now, he's 18, he just loves running. He's spending all of his money on Alpha Flies, which are the top, marathon shoes. But it pleases me to know that him, just turning 18.
Yeah.
So I sort of wish, but coming to your question, I sort of wish I had started running earlier because it might have, might have been, I might have partied less, but you know what I mean.
It would have gotten you into the track.
Yeah. I mean, look, as
No
I say,
pun
we've always been relatively healthy, having a good time. But when you're training for an Ironman, you have to look after your body. It's and that's a good thing. But you don't have to do an Ironman to do that. Like even if you want to do a 5K run or, just want to get out, be fit and healthy, running is perfect for that. Once you get hooked on it, it changes your life. You can, you really start to think about what you're putting in your body and, you can still have an occasional drink and have a pizza, but really when you run and you start to, want to improve your performance, you start to think about all the good things you should be putting in your body as well.
And you kind of feel it as well, no? Like, if you're not drinking for the whole week, you start seeing that progression sort of, through your variables or not getting as tired, after
Definitely.
your 5K run.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So you kind of see that change as well.
Yeah.
I think,
And
right?
you have to eat like, people think about training for any endurance race or even, whether you're doing a 5 or a 10K race, you have to fuel your body properly. So if you don't eat well during the week, then you're not going to perform on the weekend or with your training session. So it sort of forces you to make sure you're eating well as well.
With having said that, what kind of were you in some sort of diet for those trainings that you do for your big runs? Would you be in a strict diet, or would you be conscious about, I shouldn't be eating a pizza, maybe, or did you have to go through that?
No, I still liked pizza and occasional fast food, and it's a bit of you can still enjoy your life and and enjoy your food. It's just when you're obviously when you're getting closer to the race, then you're a bit stricter on what you're eating for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, I'm not an elite athlete. I was an age group athlete, so I still enjoyed going out. And you've got to get, and it comes down to the balance in life, because you can get so upset when you be endurance athletes, and I've coached a lot of endurance athletes. They become so obsessed, and they forget about their social life or their partners or their family. Yeah. And I've always had this philosophy as a coach that you've got to be holistic about your training. You cannot solely focus on your sport for you. You need to get the balance. So you can't give up your social life and making sure you're doing all the family things that you need to do.
Right. But even with running as well, like, but with Ironman, yes, you do the cycling and then you do the swim. But say just running, say a full marathon where you're just running. But to train for that as well, you'd still have to do cross training, right? You'd have to do some strength training and then some, a balance training and all that sort of stuff. How important is cross training? For the endurance.
Yeah, it's really important because particularly for injury, to reduce injuries. Yeah. So even as when I started to do ultra trail runs and marathons. So once the kids were born, I moved into just doing the running. But I still rode because the cross training is a good way to reduce injury. Especially, again, unless you're an elite athlete, you've got to look after your body. So, yeah, we did a lot of bike riding and to keep fit as well.
Oh, you see, you did rowing as well.
No, riding.
Oh, riding. Sorry.
Yeah, I never tried rowing.
Rowing, because that's intense workout too. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh. So you discovered ultra running through the first triathlon, and then sort of dabbled into the whole journey that you've come through, and you're still doing it and loving it as well. What's your next run?
Oh, my next run?
Yeah.
Well, the marathon at the end of the year.
Oh, is that the Vietnam one?
That's the Vietnam one.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing because I know I'm getting older and I should be looking for easier stuff. And my wife keeps telling me I should, stop trying to want to do stupid races. But you just have this mentality where you just want to challenge yourself. And it's really, I do it because I think it helps you in life as well. Mm-hmm. So my running's always been my outlet. It's always helped me with my mental health in particular. I've battled mental health challenges for many years, but my running has always been that place where I can be mindful. People might, how can you find a 42-kilometre run, relaxing? But it's where you can go and just clear your mind. So I'm always looking for the next big challenge. But I also know I've got to be realistic as I get older now that, I can't continue to do 100-kilometre runs, even though I'll try.
Well, do you have like a certain goal where you're like, by this time I want to finish this many kilometers or this many runs? Do you have something like that in mind at all?
No, I think it just becomes part of your life. Like ultra running, endurance sport, it's just been part of us. But it's also a family thing. So we all run. We all are all different abilities. We've always hiked as a family. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
I look back on all the photos over the years of our family growing up and my kids growing up, and everything is either hiking, bike riding, it's running, it's Ironman, it's my wife doing a half marathon, so she's also really active as well. So as a family, we're a really active family.
Yeah.
So it's just part of life. There's no end game to it. I'll run for as long as I can run, basically.
Yeah. Right. And were you the one bringing that bug into the family?
I think I brought the running bug into the family. My wife, she brought the travel bug into the family. So she's the one that instigated world trips and our travels to wherever we've been, to China and Nepal. And so she's the traveller of our family.
Did you run across apart from Australia as well? Have you done any big runs?
My longest race run is 100 kilometres.
100 kilometres.
Yeah, so I've started 3 100-kilometre races, but I've only finished one. In fact, I've always said that the 100-kilometre run ultra is harder than an Ironman. It's probably one of the hardest races I've ever done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I finished one Blackall 100 in Queensland. I forget what year that was, and then I went to Ultra Trail Australia. About 5 or 6 years ago, 50 kilometres, I was done. The nutrition wasn't working. So everything's got to be right on the day. And then I tried another 100 kilometres and I got to 75 and I had the worst blisters ever. So that put me out of that race. So it's a challenging race.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's, man, just thinking about how, you just sort of got yourself ready in 12 months for one of the most challenging runs in the world without prior experience, or just done the triathlon and then had that bug and be like, yep, I'm gonna go for this. So how long did you have, or did you already know, okay, I'm gonna do this, signed up for it, and then practiced and trained yourself within that 12 months? Did you know you had 12 months, or like it took 12 months and then you did the race?
No, I think I only had 6 months. So to actually, once I got notified that I'd got this lottery ticket, the race was in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had 6 months to get ready for it. So, but obviously I was built for it, and as I say, I ended up being reasonably good at it. So,
and what was how did you approach the training? Was there? Oh, did you say you had a coach?
Yeah,
as well?
I got
Right,
myself a coach. I think it's important. Like anyone that's training for these kind of events, it's good to invest in a coach. I know these days you can get training programs off the internet, dime a dozen for free. But really, it's important to have a coach, because the biggest risk with anyone thinking about doing, endurance sports is injury. So you can easily overtrain. So a coach, guides you, but also it's more about motivation as well. A coach is good to have for motivation, particularly look into these longer events.
Yeah,
keep you honest. So I think that was probably the most important thing.
And did you say what was you said 100K was the longest you did?
Yep.
And that was in Queensland.
That was in Blackall Ranges in Queensland.
Yeah. Yeah. How was that? Like, what inspired you, and what were you kind of thinking throughout the race?
It's an endurance race. I always use the analogy, it's like life. 1 minute everything can be going nice and sweet, and you're having a good time, and then suddenly it all goes downhill, and you feel like someone's put a grand piano on your back, and you're trying to carry it. So I remember that race, and I remember at the 60 or 70 kilometre checkpoint, my wife was there, and later she told me, she looked at me and she thought, no way is he going to finish this, because I looked bad. I could hardly walk because my knee had gone. So I had to have a bit of some painkillers just to try and sort that out. But I finished. And you finished because I knew my family was at the finish line, and I remember coming in the dark, and it's pitch black. I was just so gone, and I heard my daughter yell out from the thing. I actually started crying my eyes out, because in these races the emotion just comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm crying, and they came up and cuddled me and ran with me to the finish line, and so and that's the whole, that's the reason you do it, because it's a family thing. It's we're all doing it because having the support of your family when you're having to train for these events is really important.
Yeah.
And so to have them at the finish line was really special.
All right. I just wanted to sort of know, how did you get into the advocacy of equity, inclusion, and diversity? Like, what was that germ that made you feel like I should be talking about this, or represent this, or make this a purpose of my life? Well, how did that come across?
Yeah, look, that's a long journey. We could have another hour on that, but I'll try and give you the short version.
Yeah.
Look, I grew up northern suburbs of Brisbane, very white Anglo-Saxon. My parents, $2 Poms they were called. And I grew up with a lot of racism, blatant racism, particularly towards Aboriginal people in this country. It was just the way it was back then, which was awful. But I didn't know then. I grew up with no knowledge of the histories of our country. And then we moved to Darwin in 2004, and Darwin's 30% population is Aboriginal. And I always say to people, that's when I started my cultural journey, seeing the awful inequities for First Nations people. Because I was working in a lot of remote communities up there delivering sport.
Yeah.
And I learnt a lot about Aboriginal history. I learnt the true history of what happened.
Yeah.
And I learned why there was so much disconnect with Aboriginal people and Anglo-Saxon people. So that journey really sort of sparked that passion for wanting to see change. I was very fortunate up in the Northern Territory as we were making change through sport, so we were able to take sport to remote communities. So that's sort of when my journey started, but it's also a time we have a multicultural family as well. and to see, seeing the racism in schools and hearing just the jokes that we still hear, when I was a kid, I knew, that's why I get out of bed every day, is to actually try and make change and to stop the racism, which is still exists in this country. I mean, we've come a long way. I think, we are on a journey as a country. But for as long as I am working, I will do everything I can to, play my part in calling out, inappropriate behaviours. But look, moving to Tassie, Tassie's again, I say Tassie's on a bit of a journey. There's been a huge increase in migrant population in the last 5 years, and it's been we've gone from 12 to 15%. That brings its challenges, but it also brings such richness. Yeah. And I always like to talk about this from the positive mindset and the richness that culture brings. And then when I got the job at the Multicultural Council of Tasmania, that was the time I got to connect with so many beautiful people and so many great cultures. It was a really special job for me, and that was the best part of the role. But I was able to then start advocating for people from, multicultural backgrounds and bringing that knowledge I had from, the First Nations work that I'd done.
Mm. Is that the time with MCOT that you got introduced to Chiagov and the Nest program, or was it through different avenues?
Yeah, definitely. So it was when I got introduced to Nest through that, and Sansar. I met Sansar. I was his mentor in a diverse leadership program when we first met.
Oh yeah.
And I always say mentoring is a funny thing because I learn as much from him than he learns from me. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
But then I got really connected with the Nepali community and the work Nest were doing, and over the past 2-3 years, I've just seen the Nepali community and Nest just doing some remarkable work, particularly in the sports space with Chia Guff.
Yeah.
It just astounds me. I've been working in sport for 20 years, and the work that Chia Guff is doing, that's true inclusion, true belonging. I just love it. Yeah, it's really, it's fascinating to watch.
I've, as I said, I was snooping around your LinkedIn profile. I did see a post where you had said had a post about Chiagov and about belonging. That was the main ingredient that post said. And what do you think that belonging comes through? How can we tell, like, if there's an organization that is trying to do the same things as others are, but is missing on that belonging link?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I think for many years we've always talked about diversity and inclusion, and even in sports sector or in the workplaces, the key things is diversity and inclusion. The last probably 2 or 3 years, they've thrown the equity word in there. So it's diversity, inclusion, and equity.
Yeah.
But the missing ingredient is belonging. Mm-hmm. There's no point having, diversity and being inclusive if someone doesn't feel they belong. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the missing ingredient in a lot of the work that the mainstream are doing. Where I see, and this is where, say, Chia Guff, for instance, they really get that belonging, because we feel like we belong when we go to Chia Guff.
Yes.
Without anyone trying.
Yeah.
And it comes down to, it's again that holistic approach, isn't it? A cup of tea, a bite to eat. True. Talking to people. Mm-hmm. That's what makes people feel welcome. Yeah. It's not just about rocking up for a run and then going home. Mm-hmm. So parkrun, for instance, a lot of people come to parkrun, they do their thing, they go home. But Chia's really brought in that sense of belonging.
So yeah, communicating, sitting down, just saying how your day was, and then sharing the chia as well. That's the belonging bit that comes in with Chiagov.
Yeah,
especially.
absolutely. And I think, because I'm working back in the sports sector now, and I think, how can we replicate that? How can we get other clubs and groups to replicate that? That sense of belonging.
Yeah.
So there's an ingredient there that's, I don't know if you can sell it. You can make a lot of money, I can tell you.
I was going to get into that as well. So you are leading the Handball Association of Australia, right? Is that?
Yes. Well, not
that
leading
fair?
it. I'm now the general manager for participation for Handball Australia. So my handball is an Olympic sport. You may have heard of it. It's not very big in Australia. It's played in a few states. It's probably one of the highest participation sports in Europe. Essentially, it started in Europe, and now we're trying to grow the game in Australia. So my job is to try and grow, participation in schools.
In schools?
Yeah.
Yeah, around Australia.
Around Australia, yeah. And I've never played handball. It's an interesting thing, but my job isn't to coach it. It's to get people to play it. I worked for Netball Queensland for 6 or 7 years, and I'd never played netball in my life either. But yeah, managed to do okay in that job. So we're going to try and grow the sport.
So it's a different kind of sort of pathways where you're just sort of talking or promoting the sport than playing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, to sell a sport, as we say, you don't need to have played it. It's about just creating the right environment for kids to come, and that's the thing about that whole belonging thing. Yeah, like this sport, if you make an environment fun, you've got good coaching, the kids will come and they'll stay. But again, it's trying to make sure your sport is inclusive for all cultures, because there's a real opportunity. We have, this country is, 50% of people are born overseas, so we need to make sure that, any sporting environment is inclusive and safe for all.
Yeah. Is there any lesson you'd say from sport that shaped the advocacy realm for you?
I think my own personal journey shaped my advocacy journey. I think my family's journey. I think my career pathway. I was very fortunate with my career pathway to get a job with the Sports Commission and to experience working in the Northern Territory. And then when I worked for Netball Queensland, I was really fortunate to work in some beautiful remote communities up in Cape York and Torres Strait. And that just shaped me as a person. I continue to learn today about our histories and then our family's journey and our travels. So we've been to China many times and we've been to Nepal. That's all shaped me, and that shaped me to be, for our family to be an inclusive family and want to see equity in a genuinely multicultural society.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and what do you think? Is there a shift? Because we did talk about it before about how the volume has changed for migration, by big numbers as well. So, what shift have you sort of seen before this whole shift and after now and happening at the same time? Is there? Do you have moments where you're like, oh, this is sort of slightly moving or shifting?
That's a big question. I think there'll always be a job for people in diversity and inclusion roles. Unfortunately, I say that unfortunately because if I didn't have a job, we'd have a harmonious, society.
Yeah.
So it's all people that work in diversity, equity, inclusion are trying to put themselves out of a job essentially. But unfortunately, the challenges in society still exist.
Yeah.
And I think we've still got a lot of work to do, to be honest. There is still some deep racism, structural racism in our society. Yes, people say we're getting there, which I hate that term. We're evolving. as a society, but there's still a lot of work to do, unfortunately. And one of the saddest things was after the referendum for the voice to Parliament, that period created such a divide in our society, and we almost thought that we'd probably gone back 10 years from where we were. And we're back on track again now. We're getting there, but still things like that happen, and it puts us back. Overseas conflicts happen, and it puts us back locally, and so it's a continual continued work, I suppose, that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so you've done so much. Like just thinking about it, you've traveled. You've done these ultra marathons. You've been involved with the multicultural community. You are still involved in the other movements as well, like Chagov and Run for Harmony. You're doing the handball movement as well. Yeah. So how do you balance training, advocacy, and then parenting?
Well, my kids are grown up now.
Yeah.
We thought parenting would get easier, but it actually gets harder when they get older.
Really?
That's what my wife and I think. I have gone down to 3 days a week. When I first moved to Tassie, I took on a CEO role with MCOT, and that was a tough gig. That's really hard work. So, and I was working crazy hours, and because I wanted change, and I just threw everything into it. But it also affected my mental health because I had actually thrown so much into that job, because I really wanted to try and make a difference, and we did. We did a lot through the 3 years I was there. But I realised when my 3-year tenure had come up, and it was going to be extended, I decided it's time to take a break. So this handball role is only 3 days a week. So I'm at a period of my career where I wanted to work part-time and still be able to volunteer for communities. So I'd stopped coaching when I'd worked at MCOT, and now I'm working part-time. I'm able to volunteer my time for Cheer Guff and coach the guys on a Thursday. So, yeah, it's this stage of my career, I'm trying to make sure I get a bit more balance to do the things I'm really passionate about doing. And one of them's coaching.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you've been, from the sound of it, you've been doing throughout the whole journey. You've been balancing it.
It's there's periods where it's imbalanced, and again, I put my coaching hat on. Once you lose the balance, it goes a bit pear-shaped. So I've known myself when my mental health is not in a great place, that I haven't got the balance right. So I need to look at what needs to change. Something needs to give. So you have to get that work-life balance right. Really important.
Yeah. How do you approach it? Like, how do you know? Sort of my advocacy lever is a bit heavier than my coaching, or my coaching's going a little bit less than my parenting. How do you balance, and how do you know? How do you approach saying like, maybe I should do 3 days.
Yeah,
maybe that'll work.
Look, I mean, family's always good at telling you when you haven't got the right balance.
Yeah.
So I think that's always having a really strong relationship with my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
To keep us honest when I'm working too much. I feel it in myself. I feel a lot happier now. I'm actually coaching again, because since I moved to Tassie, I'd stopped coaching. And it's always something I've done. It's always been my outlet, having a squad and coaching a group.
Yeah.
And when I asked to coach at Cheer Guff, it just gave me that inspiration back to coach,
right,
and that passion back. So, yeah, I'm getting there. There's still, life throws things at you constantly, as we all know, and everyone's struggling in some way or form. But at the moment, it's good to have that balance and not have to work full time.
That's great, because I've come to Chagov Thursdays mostly, because I just work on weekends. I couldn't be part of Sunday's run. But yeah, you've been on and off on Sunday's run, but then Thursdays you're always there, just coaching. I just wanted to ask, what do you see or what do you feel about Chiagov? Since you've been there, what have you seen, the changes, or like what do you think basically, like Chiagov?
As I said before, I think it's incredible. I like the way you call it a movement. I was just saying earlier, it might be a global movement in the next 10 years, maybe. Why not? Let's think big.
Absolutely. Amen.
But it's incredible to think, like when you turn up on a Sunday morning, it's pitch black, it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
And all these people are coming, 30, 40 people, different ages, elders of the community walking, young people. I just think it's incredible. And one of the really great things, it's led by young people. So the young guys, Ayush, that have really inspired people to get out there and run or walk. That's what I find the most inspiring thing about it. Led by community for community.
Yeah. No, they're brilliant. They're just super inspiring. Just to see them, and they're working so hard as well. Like with the whole datas and how much, like all the wearables with the gears, everything. They're just into it, and they're ready to spread the knowledge and then just reap all the goodness out of all that, all the runs that they do, which is really nice. Like I wish I could be more into the movement, but I'm still there, and I'm hoping we'll get more engaged into it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And I've said this to Anish. As long as you're there, the session's there every week. People can come and go as when they want. You don't have to be doing all the longer stuff. It's for you. It's for everybody, and that's the beauty about this running group. It's for everybody, whether you're a walker, whether you're only training for a 5K, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And look, and it's the role modelling that that these guys are actually doing for the youngsters in the community as well.
Yeah.
I've always thought that with my son. I think he's a runner, and my daughter used to be a runner until she turned about 13, 14, but she's just getting back into it. But from when they were born, I was coaching back then, and I remember I would take them to the track and I'd put them in the long jump pit and they'd make sandcastles in the long jump pit while I coached.
All right.
But kids seeing that, and so the Nepali community and all the kids seeing what these young guys are doing is really powerful.
Yeah.
It's going to inspire them as well.
Yeah. We'll be talking about your family and how you're balancing it all. So you've who's in your family? You've got your wife, son, your daughter, and yourself, right? And I do know that you did approach homeschooling, right? And that concept for me is just fascinating because I grew up going to school, just the normal cycle. You go to school, you spend most of the day there, come back home, do your homework and all that, right? That's norm for me. But, this homeschooling thing, which, I still have to gather a bit more information on from especially someone who's actually done that and, doing it still. What would you say to me, someone who's illiterate on this subject?
Well, homeschooling in this country is a growing movement. It was always seen upon as just the hippie kids' parents that homeschool, but it really is now an education choice in Australia. When we first started homeschooling, it was when we first moved back from Darwin to Brisbane. And I hadn't really heard of it either, but my wife, who is a teacher by profession, decided that she and wanted to homeschool. And at first I was against it because I was old school. Oh, you've got to go to school, you've got to get your grades. And there was a bit of tension early on because that's the mentality that I had and what most people have.
Yep.
But when you see the journey of a homeschooled kid and seeing my kids grow through the homeschooling journey, you will be convinced that it's the right thing. Kids need to be outdoors more. So our kids learned by doing. They learned by Donna, my wife, would set projects based on their interests rather than just trying to test them and teach them maths and English in a traditional way.
Yeah.
An example, so a project like when we went to Nepal, that whole trip was part of their schooling. So they learned about the country. They had to do the logistics of the planning.
Wow.
So that's how they learned through their homeschooling journey. I don't take much credit for the homeschooling. Donna takes all the credit for their education. I was the sport coach, basically. I was the running coach.
The running coach.
Yeah.
But then you are the. It's a team effort.
Yeah, definitely.
So you were the part of the team.
Yeah, no, it has to be a team effort. It's like everything, yeah. Like you've got to all be on board with it. And I eventually got on board with it, and I would not. I'd say I would not do it any differently. To see how my kids have turned out, they're fine. Yeah. They're beautiful people. And I always say, if schooling teaches our kids one thing, and it's to be good humans, then the education system would be fine. But they've grown up really well, and they're finding their way, finding their wings.
That's so organic as well, because obviously, the school system or the education systems there has been for a while, and has its own accolades going, if you go to school, you do this, you do that, like you get into, say, university and all that sort of stuff. But to have this approach where organically you just learn as a human being, that's just, it's just fascinating.
And there's so many misconceptions around homeschooling, and there's so much pressure put on our kids through high school in particular, to get a good ATAR score. Yeah. Otherwise, you're not going to go to university. It's rubbish. Like, kids can get into university so many different pathways these days. It's not all about the ATAR. And we look at the mental health challenges with our youth, and the pressure that they're put on through their schooling years. It's just, we didn't want that for our kids. It's fun. And again, we don't criticise anyone for what journey they take in their education. This was our journey, and this was our choice. Yeah. And we're glad that they were able to, experience homeschooling, and they've thrived in it.
Wow, that's that's a pretty fascinating story. As I always was intrigued, and because I didn't know anyone who'd done homeschooling. For me, it was still like an alien concept, but in my head, I knew the concept, and okay, this is how we do it. But having it look at from a practical lens, going, man, is this could this be done like practically? But having met you and listened to you, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, you see. As I say, it's not for everyone, but my kids really thrive. When they got to year 11 and 12, they went part-time. So my son, he's studying sports science this year at Hobart College, but he does the rest of his schooling at home. And my daughter, she studied cookery and chefing in high school, and now she's working in and has worked in some of Australia's, top fine dining restaurants. So, they found their journey. Yeah. As I say, there's more than one way to get down your path, and I think that's the important thing to remember.
That's so wholesome. I love it. Right, so in the podcast we have a quick fire round. Which
Can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, so like the name suggests, you just
quick answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not think.
Right.
So just quick fire round. I've got 10 questions.
Oh dear.
So yeah, either a word or a sentence, But the thing is to not think, and whatever comes to your head, as soon as I say the question, you just spit it out.
You're right.
You
I'll do
ready?
my best.
Okay, all right. Favorite post-run snack?
Chocolate.
Most inspiring place you've run?
Kanani.
Kanani.
Yep. I think Tassie's a beautiful place to run. Yep.
It's gorgeous. One word to describe advocacy.
Hard work.
Hard work. A habit you can't start your day without.
Definitely coffee.
Coffee. Next big personal challenge.
We're in Vietnam Marathon at the end of the year.
True.
Yeah, with Lucas.
Yes. Yeah, we've been through this. Longest run you've ever done?
100 kilometres.
100 kilometers. Coffee or tea after a run?
Definitely coffee.
Coffee?
Yep.
All right. Yes. I don't know about this one. Song that gets you pumped to run?
I don't actually listen to music when I run.
I've never seen you, yes.
Yeah, and it's an old school coaching thing. So yeah, I'm not a fan of listening to music.
Would you have like a alternate thing to discount, like to replace music with?
Not really.
No?
For me, running, it should be quiet. It's your peaceful time. I mean, I don't even like music at home. Donna puts some music on. I tell them to turn it down. So, so yeah, I'm not going to listen to music when I run.
All right. Number 9, I've got dream running location anywhere in the world.
I really want to go back to Nepal. So maybe we could look for a race in Nepal at some time, because I went to Nepal in 2019 and I have to go back. So maybe is there a marathon over there somewhere I could have a crack at?
Well done. And the last one, if you weren't running or advocating, what would you be doing?
Relaxing by the beach, probably.
That's brilliant. Well done. You've survived.
Excellent.
Like you mentioned about going to Nepal as well. How big? How long did you stay for? How long was the journey? And how was it?
It was. We've travelled quite a lot over my life to many different countries, and I always say, I'm not just saying this because you're from Nepal. It has been one of the most special places I've ever been, and I know our family found just so beautiful. Beautiful people, spectacular scenery. Mm-hmm. So we went in 2019 and we hiked Langtang Valley, which was a 12, 13-day hike.
Yeah.
And got up to 5,000 metre hill, I think you call them, at that height.
Was it snow there?
Yeah, it was snow. It wasn't snow walking in, but up the mountain, it was cold and snowy. Yep.
Do you remember any highlight from that trip which stayed with you? Which you can think of, just I remember that happened in Nepal, doing that, or
I just seeing the high mountains for the first time as we were walking through the valley. And going over a bridge and just seeing the high mountains for the first time was just incredible. Like, it was just goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I've done the Muktinath hike as well, which is not as high, but yeah, just seeing this ginormous mountains, it just humbles you. It
makes you feel so insignificant and how small we are in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I totally agree. Cool. We're towards the end.
Excellent. I survived.
But yeah, another sort of a session, not a session, but a thing that we do with the podcast is if you could leave our listeners a message that that you think would be beneficial, say for the listeners, from the experience that you've had through your running journey, your multicultural advocacy, towards diversity, equity. What would you would want to leave with for the listeners?
That's a big question. There's a lot in there, but I'll keep it, simple because my running I've always, as I say, used the analogy for life's journey, and life is a journey, and I think we all have, we all have some wonderful times in our life, but we also have some challenging times in our life, and that's like long distance running. It's like a marathon. You have your ups and downs, so it's a journey. But I think what you're doing, uniting your communities and bringing people together and inspiring them to run as part of their their well-being is really important. So I just really encourage everyone in the community to reach out and get involved, whether you're walking or running. But just keep doing what you're doing, because it's inspiring me. It's inspired me to coach again. It's inspiring my son and my family to get involved with your communities as well. So you're doing a great job, and I think that's the important thing. And look out for each other. I think we have, my life's journey has had its ups and downs with my own mental health, and I wouldn't have survived that without people around me, without my family around me. So, your community is doing that really well and looking after each other. So it's really important.
Oh, thank you very much. that was special. On that note, we're saying goodbye. But thank you very much once again. Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't waffle on too much.
No, not at all. I was a bit nervous because this is my first time doing a full English podcast.
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous, but I think we did. I did well. You did.
You did. You did very well. There's nothing wrong with your English. It's perfect.
No, I think it was just the nervousness because, like I said, never done a full episode just in English.
Yeah, nice. Well done.
Time.
It's good fun.
Thank you.